Imagine a ruler who must decide, should he keep his promise to his people, or break it if doing so will save his state from collapse? Picture a world where the usual moral rules, honesty, mercy, loyalty, are not the guide for public action, because the survival of the state demands something else. In such a world, what becomes of morality? Is it abandoned, reshaped, or reinterpreted? These challenging questions lie at the heart of the writings of Niccolò Machiavelli, especially in The Prince and his other works. Many regard Machiavelli as the father of political realism, someone who declared that in politics, the normal moral compass must sometimes be set aside. Yet when we examine his thinking more closely, we find a more nuanced story, one in which morality is not simply discarded, but transformed, subordinated, and made pragmatic. In this video, we will explore the role of morality in Machiavelli's political philosophy, focusing on his separation of private morality and public necessity, his concept of virtue and fortuna, and how these relate to morality, the implications of his view for leadership, ethics, and statecraft, some criticisms and reinterpretations of Machiavelli's moral stance. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel. Here, we take deep ideas, philosophy, politics, ethics, and unfold them step by step, making them accessible, engaging, and relevant. Whether you're a student, a curious mind, or someone who wonders how political theory connects to real-world power, you're in the right place. Machiavelli's starting point is clear: the political world is not the same as the moral world. In everyday life, we're taught to be honest, kind, loyal, forgiving. But Machiavelli argues that a ruler who clings to those values too rigidly may not survive the brutal game of politics. Why? Because others won't play by the same rules. He presents a sharp distinction between private morality, how we should live as individuals, and public necessity, what a ruler must do to maintain order, power, and stability. For Machiavelli, the worst crime a ruler can commit is not cruelty or deceit. It's weakness, especially if it leads to the fall of the state. If a leader's morality causes political collapse, then that morality has failed its ultimate test. In times of peace, virtues like honesty and mercy may be useful. But in times of war, betrayal, or crisis, those same virtues might be deadly. That's why Machiavelli suggests that a ruler must learn how not to be good and know when to apply or abandon conventional morality. In this model, morality becomes a tool, not a rule. To understand Machiavelli's unique morality, we must understand two key concepts: virtue and fortuna. Virtue is not virtue in the religious or moral sense. Instead, it refers to strength, decisiveness, cleverness, adaptability, the traits of a successful leader. Fortuna represents luck, fate, or the unpredictable forces that shape human life. In Machiavelli's view, great leaders are those who use their virtue to control or respond effectively to fortuna. They don't rely on luck, they shape their own destiny, often by bending the rules. This is where morality comes in. Virtue may require the ruler to lie, manipulate, or act with cruelty, but only when necessary, and only if it strengthens the state. For Machiavelli, success justifies the means, as long as those means serve the greater political good. This doesn't make him immoral, it makes him contextual. He doesn't abandon ethics, he redefines it based on political outcomes rather than moral absolutes. While Machiavelli allows for immoral actions, he's very clear on one point: a ruler must appear to be moral, even when he is not. Why? Because people judge based on appearances, not intentions. If a ruler seems honest, generous, and merciful, he gains the trust of his people, even if, behind closed doors, he's calculating and ruthless. The key to political success, then, is managing reputation. This doesn't mean being a hypocrite for the sake of it. It means understanding that public perception is part of political reality. If the people think you are good, they will follow you. If they see you as evil or weak, they will rebel. So morality, in this sense, becomes strategic. It's not just about doing the right thing. It's about being seen doing the right thing, even if you're doing the opposite in secret. At the core of Machiavelli's moral theory is a single overriding duty: the preservation of the state. From this perspective, a ruler's morality is measured not by traditional ethics, but by results. Did they maintain order? Did they protect the people? Did they secure the future of the nation? If the answer is yes, then, even if the ruler had to break promises or use force, Machiavelli would likely say they did what was right. This does not give leaders a blank check to be cruel or power-hungry. Machiavelli warns against unnecessary violence and cruelty for its own sake. In fact, he argues that cruelty should be used all at once, swiftly and decisively, not in prolonged doses. This, he believes, earns fear and respect, without triggering hate and revolt. The leader's goal is stability, and morality is judged by whether it serves that purpose. Of course, Machiavelli's ideas haven't gone unchallenged. His apparent willingness to excuse lying, betrayal, and cruelty has earned him a reputation as the original political villain, the inspiration for the word Machiavellian itself. Critics accuse him of promoting tyranny and abandoning all ethical standards. For them, Machiavelli's philosophy opens the door to authoritarianism and manipulation. But others argue that Machiavelli is not immoral, just realistic. He doesn't celebrate evil. He simply acknowledges that politics is messy and that sometimes hard choices must be made. His work can be read as a warning, not a manual for despotism. In fact, some scholars point to his other writings, like Discourses on Livy, to argue that he deeply cared about Republican values, civic virtue, and the public good. He wasn't against morality. He just believed that in politics, the stakes are too high to rely on idealism alone. Why does Machiavelli still matter? Because his insights speak directly to the tensions we see in leadership today. Should leaders always tell the truth, even if it causes panic? Should governments ever lie to protect national security? Is it ever justified to sacrifice a few for the many? These are Machiavellian questions, and they don't have easy answers. We live in a world where leaders are judged by both their ethics and their effectiveness, and sometimes those two goals conflict. Machiavelli gives us a framework to understand those conflicts, not to celebrate them, but to confront them honestly. So, what is the role of morality in Machiavelli's political philosophy? It is not eliminated, but transformed. Morality becomes flexible, strategic, and subordinate to the ultimate goal, the survival and success of the state. For Machiavelli, the ruler must act with virtù, conquer fortuna, and be willing to sacrifice conventional morality when the situation demands it. Not out of cruelty, but out of duty. It's not a comfortable vision, but it's a compelling one. And it forces us to confront a timeless dilemma. Can you be a good leader without being a good person? Or put differently, can a ruler's moral duty to their country outweigh their moral duty to individual virtue? If you found this discussion insightful, challenging, or even a bit uncomfortable, that's exactly what philosophy is meant to do. Subscribe to Unfolding Journey for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world. Thumbs up like the video if you learned something new. Speech balloon and let us know in the comments. Do you think Machiavelli was right about morality in politics? Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and stay curious.